Okay, when I tell people I do PR, okay, I've been doing this for 10 years, and I've come to accept one thing, is that 90% of the people I meet don't know what I do. So I've accepted it. When I say I do PR, they're like, oh, okay, then one of the most bizarre reactions that I went to a networking event once, and I met this lady, or quite a pretty looking lady, and then, you know, in networking, what do you ask? First you tell your name and then you say, what do you do, right? So I say, I do PR. Then she's like, oh my God, you're the person I want to meet. And I'm like, whoa, is my profile really up there? You know? Then she said, my parents in China want to apply PR in Singapore. And I'm like, okay, blonde moment, I think I better talk to you later, and then I just walked away. Then there are other times when I say, okay, so I realize I cannot use the word PR, right? I cannot use the acronym, I must say public relations. So I tell them, oh, I do public relations. Then they'll go like, oh, wow. So I'm like, what's wrong? I mean, is my trade really that glamorous or what? So they say, oh, you must be networking and socializing a lot, huh? I'm sure you go to all those dinners and whatnot and rub shoulders with important people. Okay? So I thought in this talk, the first thing I want to do is to tell you the truth, that PR is not as glamorous. In fact, it is really boring. The background work that we do is really intensive, mind intensive, and what you see may be glamorous, but the clients get the glamour. I do all the bad work. Okay? So what is PR all about? It is about raising profile, like what Rahul said. It is mainly about building credibility. How many of you could do more with your credibility? You want your credibility to go up. I'm very glad that you're all very up there. You cannot go anywhere. I don't see any hands up. Maybe I'm talking to the wrong crowd. How many of you want to build your credibility? All right, that's the response I need, okay? Now, the other thing is you need to build trust. The reason why you need to build your credibility is you want people to trust you faster than your competitors, right? Now, if you're an employee, if you have a boss, you're an employee, you're working for someone, your competitor is the person who can take over your job, isn't it? Or when you move to another job, you're competing with other people. So you want your future employer to trust you faster than he can trust the next person. True? Okay? So, PR is all about connection and not transaction. Even though I work with businesses, even though I work with business people who are selling something, in PR, in marketing we sell product, but in PR we sell trust. Can you get the idea? Okay? So I've been doing this for 10 years, and what I'm going to do today is I've taken my experience, my expert knowledge, and my insights, I put them together, and I'm going to give you a structure. This structure that I'm giving you is not something that I followed. I built it because based on my 10 years of experience, I look back and I joined the dots together so that you can do it faster than I can. Is that good for you? Yes. All right? So, what's the first thing? Okay. Now, one of the things that I do a lot with my client, or rather the main reason why my client come to me, is they want to get into the media. Now, this talk is not about how to get into the media, but how you can make yourself more media ready. Okay? So, why do clients always want to get to the media? You know it. If you appear in the media, you're automatically seen as an expert in the industry. It tends to amplify your presence, correct or not? But if you are an employee, the chances of a media is very unlikely because usually it's the business owner's kind of game, right? But we can use the concept for you to up your profile in your industry. Good? Okay. Okay. Now, reputation. In today's world, I mean, Vivek just talked about millennial. Huh? If you go on the internet, it's all about transformation, right? So I just intentionally put this slide here so that I want to remind you that my talk is not about how you can raise your profile in 10 days, how you can raise your profile in 3 easy steps. No such thing. I'm not a millennial, I'm Gen X. We do it slowly. Okay? I was telling them I cannot climb from there, I climb from here because if I climb from there I get backache. Cannot, I die. Cannot talk. All right? I'm Gen X. All right? So if you want to build a positive reputation, you need to go through 3 steps. Anyone here in marketing? I see only one hand behind. So you'll find this familiar. You need to go through these 3 steps. And it is one after the other. There's no such thing as jumping. That's why I put a staircase and not a lift. All right? The first step is people must know you. Okay? Once people know you, they need to like you. After they like you, they need to trust you. When this thing spirals and builds up, that's how your reputation builds. Does that make sense? Yes? Okay. So I've come up with 4 factors of PR. How to up your profile. How well you work with each factor will determine how fast and how much you build your profile. All right? Okay, so the first one is this. First, you need to be really good. So this is not the first factor. Before the first factor, you must already be good at what you're doing. Okay? If you're not good, let's say you're just starting out in your industry, you are not ready to up your profile. Okay? If you go on the internet, you will see a lot of people who have barely been in the industry and then they're already selling multi-million-dollar dreams, right? And then when you found out that they're barely in it, what happens to their reputation? Break, right? They come tumbling down the spiral staircase, right? So my advice to you is you need to be good at your craft before you can even think about upping your profile, all right? So once you're good at your craft, then you can go on to the first factor. What's the first factor? Is you need to know your message. Now, this is by far the most important thing that will build your profile. Okay? So if you are having the food post-lunch dizziness, it's time to wake up. Wake up, huh? Okay? All right. So know your message. In a PR campaign, when I work with my client, I always ask them this first question. What is your message? If you don't have a message, I cannot do PR for you. Okay? But usually, most business owners, because they're so busy selling, right, transaction, right, they never thought about connection. So a lot of time, they don't know what their message is. In fact, they do know, there is a message, they just never bring it to their consciousness. You know, they're not aware of it. So that's where I come in as a PR consultant and I draw out that message from them. Okay? So how you, as an employee, can have a message for yourself. The first thing to do is you try to complete this sentence. So I am a, and then that's your role. Huh? So let's say for me, I am a PR professional. And I believe that. Okay, think for yourself. Let's say you're a HR professional. Say, I'm a HR professional and I believe that. How many of you, for yourself, if you're thinking in your head, can complete this sentence easily? You can? Not bad. You're already halfway there. Okay, you're ahead of me. How many of you can? Nice. Usually people who are self-employed and run, and you know, they are like Zai, like me. Are you self-employed also? There. You see, they already have it because they are the way that they need to work, right? To get their business, they need to know their message. Okay, but most people, and it's very common, so it's not that you're no good. Most of them, they don't know how to get the message out, right? Now, I will use myself as an example. I am a PR professional, and I believe that no matter how small your business is, you can get big publicity. So that's just one of my many beliefs. Now, so why does this matter about the message? Okay? If you have that belief, and you know after so many years, I have all this knowledge, right? Okay? I have this knowledge. With my belief, when I talk to people, do you think my conversation will be different from someone who has no message? It will be, right? Because a lot of time when I talk to people, they always say, a lot of business owners in Singapore, they're all very shy. And then I will always ask them, then why are you in business if you're shy about your business, right? And then they say, oh, you know, I can't do PR. I wish I could do PR because my business is too small or too boring or whatever, right? So because I have that belief that even small businesses deserve big publicity, don't you think that I will start talking to them in a way that make them believe that it is possible for them to get PR? How will that reflect on my reputation? You don't need to know the answer. It's obviously positive, right? I also have another belief. I'm a PR professional, and I believe that PR campaigns should have no fluff, and it should have no fuss. For those of you who have known PR agencies or PR people, there's some of them out there who are full of fluff. They come up with all these massive PR campaign, PR strategies, but in fact, the outcome of their massive, complex PR strategies are no different from mine. Because what client wants is the outcome, right? They don't care about strategies, right? So with that, when I talk to my client or potential client or the people that I want to connect with, how will I come across? Will I talk about big strategies, complex strategies? No, I will talk about very straightforward, practical things, like what I'm talking about now. Does that make sense? Okay? Now let's go back to this sentence. And you look at it, and I want to change this sentence a bit. I want to say like this. I am a, so whatever your profession, right? And I know that. Okay, let's change that. How many of you can fill up this sentence? I am a, what's your profession, sir? A what? Okay, so what's your role? Okay, so I'm a IT senior leader, and I know that there's a lot of things you know, right? Okay, see? When you talk about know, right? There's so many things. But you know what? It doesn't matter how much you know, because Google knows more than you. Okay? So what I'm trying to say here is, we exist in a knowledge economy. Okay? Knowledge and information does not have as much power or value to people as insights. Does that make sense? Okay? So I will like you, I will trust you because of your insights, not because of your information or your knowledge. In fact, the economy rewards people more if they have better insights. Did you get it? Okay? So now what has this got to do with the belief? Because when you have very clear belief about your trade or what you do, okay, and like I said, you already have to know a lot of things, right? You have to be good at what you do. So you already know a lot. You take your belief, you take your knowledge, you put them together, you will get insights. And it's these insights that will make people trust you. So what does that mean? That means the next time you go to an industry event or a networking event, you don't talk about your work, you don't talk about your job, because we're talking about career, not job. Huh? You don't talk about your job, you don't talk about your boss or how there's not enough leave, not enough welfare. You talk about ideas. You talk about issues, you talk about challenges. So what are you doing? You are raising your conversation level, correct or not? Okay? When you raise your conversation level, people around you have no choice but to do what? To look up at you. Does that make sense how it builds your profile? Okay? So how many of you go to networking events? Very few, because you know what? I work with people who are in job transition at E2I, and a lot of them, they don't go to networking. Why is that? Because they think that if you only business owners need to go networking. Come on, What year is it now? You can lose, this is the time of disruption, right? You can lose your job anytime. You need to be out there, right? Okay? So I want you from today onwards, start completing this sentence. Once you complete this sentence, a magical things happen. What happens? That it ceases to become a sentence, it is now a statement. I'll repeat that. When you can complete this sentence, it ceases to become a sentence, it becomes a statement that you own. Can you already see how it's going to up your profile? Okay, when everyone else is talking about when is their next leave, or how they're comparing companies and whatever now with people in the industry, you're talking about ideas, possibility, and challenges. Okay, people will look at you differently. They have to look up at you. Right? So, the message here is raise the level of your conversation. Next. Once you raise your conversation, what will happen is that some of them will be drawn to you because they like what you're saying. Okay? But will there be people who don't get what you're saying? They will, right? Okay? These are the people who will walk away from you. Is that a bad thing? No, it's not a bad thing because now you know who your audience are. Right? It's easier to talk to a small group of people who are interested in you and who's impressed by you than to talk to everyone and trying to impress everyone. Get it? Okay? Remember this, every one of you carry 4 things, and so does everyone else. Huh? Everyone you meet and yourself carry 4 things. What are these 4 things? One is connection. The other one is resources. Third, knowledge. And fourth, association. Do you have all these 4? Connection, knowledge, association, and what's the 4th one? Resources. So every person you meet, the person who is sitting beside you and you don't know that person, these are the resources, association, knowledge, connection that are untapped. So now you need to tap into them, right? So can you turn to the person next to you that you don't know and introduce yourself, please? Great. So now you are 1 degree higher in your profile. Do you notice how simple it is to raise your profile? Because you don't look at the person and say, oh my God, this person is so old-fashioned, I'm not going to talk to him. This is an uncle, I'm not going to talk to him. Okay, oh, this person looks gorgeous, I'm going to talk to him. No, it's not based on that. You must look at every single one of them for their 4 resources, 4 things, right? And you must also be willing to offer that 4 things to other people. Does it make sense? Right? Okay? Then the next thing is, you need to ask yourself, who should you know? Now, a lot of networking masters will say, oh, I said the wrong thing, huh? Who should know you? A lot of networking people will say, oh, who should you know, right? But I take a different approach. I say, who should know you? Okay, now I'm confused, all right? Let me repeat that. Who should know you instead of who should you know? Okay? Now I'll give you an example. When I first started in public relations, I thought, nobody knows me. And then because I didn't come from a PR background, so I need to build my credibility, right? So what I did was I joined the PR Association of Singapore. It's called IPRS. Okay? Why do I join it? Because I want people in the industry to know that I exist. Because if one of my clients went to someone who is a PR person, And they say, oh, do you know Dean Shams? Because that's one of the way to check, right? Background check. And if nobody knows me, then do you think they want to engage me? No. So I joined the PR association to make sure that industry people know I exist, so that when people counter check, my potential client counter check, it's like, oh yeah. And then from in that association, I must make sure that the influencers in the association knows me. I don't care whether they like me, I have not gone to that level yet, but at least they know me. Make sense? Okay? Then, when you are networking, when you're getting to know people in your industry or your client base, and because you have a belief, you have a message, you sound very powerful, right? You will attract a lot of people. You will also attract a lot of bad people, a lot of negative people. And suddenly everybody has an idea that they can partner with you. Trust me, you will experience this when you do this properly. Okay? And then you realize not all of them are worth talking to. So you must know, it's true. Nowadays, if you tell me, hey, there are a lot of people who will come to me and say, oh, we should have a coffee because I've got a great idea. I'm like, tell me your great idea first, then I'll think about your coffee. Okay? Then they will tell me the great idea, then they will say, oh, we can do this project and project. Then I will say, it has to have that connection, right? If there's no connection, then I'll say, okay, do you have it written? That means it's like a plan, written plan. Then they will say, oh, no, this one, I need to discuss some more. I need to discuss with 500 other people, blah, blah, blah. Then I say, when you have it on paper, then we can talk. You know why? Because if you're really serious about it, you would think on paper, right? Anyone who's serious about any idea or project will think on paper. And that's how I assess. So I have my boundaries. It doesn't mean that I'm arrogant or anything, but I want to maximize my energy and my time with the people that matters. And I think you want that too, right? Okay, so that's what you do. Now, once again, this has nothing to do with the organization that you're working with. It's about your career, not about promoting your organization. But of course, for business people, it's both, right? Okay? So know your boundaries. Next. When you know your message and you know your audience, it will be so much easier to find your space. What do I mean by space? Okay? So you know your message, your audience. This is where you play. What do I mean by play? Because you need to engage with the right people. When I say engage, okay, I'll give you an example. When I go to the PR association, I was just participating in the activities. So I want people to know me, right? Okay? So I want to know people. Then I realized that these people are not my target audience. Why are they not my target audience? PR association. So they are all, say loudly. Thank you. Because they are all my competitors. So now that they know me, I got social proof that I exist, right? Okay? Hey, by the way, I'm sure you're thinking, oh, I could connect with people on LinkedIn, blah, blah, blah. But you do realize that anyone can put up a fake profile on LinkedIn? So the live F2F, face-to-face, is as important as it ever was. Okay? You need to be present. You need to participate. So participation to me means going to the event, talking to people. If there's any workshop, seminar, you go so people know you, connect with you, blah, blah, blah. Okay? But when I talk about space and play, I'm talking about engaging. Okay? So you don't just participate, you engage. What do I mean by engage? That means you find a space where you take some kind of responsibility. Either you join a committee or you join the board. Now, after a few years of being in the PR association and having my message and working just basically networking okay? This space came to me. I don't even have to look for it. I was invited to be on the board of a marketing association. Okay? Then I was invited to be on the committee of a young entrepreneurship network. Can you see what's happening? Okay, and since marketing and entrepreneurship is something that I believe in, one of the many beliefs that I have, I said yes at that time, right? Okay, so this is how when you engage, that is the best way you can show your professionalism, your insights and whatnot, and you get deeper social proof that you are worth working with. Now, for those of you who are employed, right, imagine you're moving on to the next job or next opportunity. Would you want to be sending out 100 resumes, or would you want 100 people saying, yes, he is the one or she's the one that you should hire? Make sense? Okay? Then comes the last part, which is the style. When you participate, when you engage, you will realize that you are among some of the best people in the industry because you worked your way up there, right? So you're among the best. Now, if you're among the best, what will happen? Everyone is playing their top game, correct or not? Okay? When they play the top game, you need to stand out. So if you go to some personal branding people, they will say, how to stand out? You must wear the nice clothes. Right? You must do something to make people, the moment you enter the room, you're like, stop, press, who is there? Okay? Then what do you do? For those who believe that, you will go and come up with a color chart. You know, every person will have this style chart, right? And then you will go and dye your hair purple. Because how else can anyone miss you if you have purple hair, right? Or for the guys, you will wear bow tie because you say, oh, nobody's wearing bow tie. If I wear bow tie, everyone will notice me. Or you wear silly hat, like, okay? So that everyone will remember. But do you notice that these are all insignificant things that doesn't say anything about the quality that you do? Right? So you need to have a style. And when I talk about style, I want to approach it from something that you cannot really put your finger on. So they just say things like, you know what? Ma'am, what's your name, please? Christina. Say, you know what? I've worked with Christina. I don't know what it is, but Christina is really good to work with. She's special. No, you can't really put a finger on it. What do you call that specialty? Exactly. So this one, I just want to say, what makes you stand out doesn't make you likable. Okay, I made a statement. It's about your presence. So you need to work on your presence. How many of you think that you have very good presence? I can see that. I can see that. Good. Nice. All right. But please check, counter check with someone else. You never know. It could be your ego talking. Okay. All right. So how do you develop your presence? I have like 101 tips for you. But because of the time, right, I can only give you 3 tips. Is that okay? All right. Now, some of these 3 tips may offend you. But remember, I believe no fuss, no fluff. Okay? So what's the first tip? Okay, so I'll give you the 3 principles of style. You see that ninja up there? Yeah, on the slide. Why is the ninja there? Because these are what I call the ninja principle. A lot of people, you will never get this kind of messages from the stage because it's taboo. All right? So those who have left after lunch, too bad for them. All right? Okay? So, first one, don't be humble. I hope your Asian sensibility wasn't fractured. Okay? I know we Asians are all brought up to say, if you're humble, you're good. The moment you say anything that's good about yourself, oh, you're what? What? Arrogant. So what's the opposite of humble? What else? Proud. I hear arrogant. What else? cocky. What else? I hear something, but you're too humble. I can't hear you. Soft. What kind of soft? Soft-spoken. What else? Donald Trump is an antithesis to, okay? Huh? Narcissistic, loud, okay? Now, what is the opposite of humble to me? I don't care. You know why? Because I don't take reference from humility. I take reference from authenticity. Does that make sense? So forget your Asian humility. Keep it in your pocket, take it out when you're at home, or when you go to places of worship, you can take it out and be as humble as you want. But when you're working in your career, in your business, do not be humble, but be this instead. The first thing is, you must acknowledge your strength. Okay? Every one of us has strength. Some of us go through years of being miserable because you never got the chance to acknowledge your strength, even though it's there. Okay? Now, I want to do this exercise. I want you to think about one thing that you're good at and you know that you're good at. Can you think of that now? Okay? Turn to the person beside you and say, hello, I am, and I'm good at, tell your strength. Can you do that now? You got a problem, right? Okay, I see some of you cannot stop talking. Huh? I like that. You're obviously not humble ever. Okay, come back. Come back to me. I'm on the stage. Don't forget about me. Okay. Okay. How does it feel? It feels good, right? Does it feel proud and arrogant? No, but it feels confident. Okay? So acknowledging strength is a first step to becoming good and raising your profile. All right? Now, wait, before you do anything else, there's another part to acknowledging strength. You don't just acknowledge your strengths, you must be able to acknowledge the other people's strength. Now you heard the other person's strength, right? Can you turn to that same person and say, I know you are good at whatever that he or she said just now. Can you do that now? Do you notice something? Do you notice that the conversation was much shorter when you talk about someone else than when you talk about your own strength? You know why? I'm not a psychologist, but I can say that need to share to someone that you're good at something has been suppressed for so long that when I gave you that moment, you all came out like the Merlion, right? Okay? But that also says one more thing, is that you need to learn how to acknowledge strength. That means verbally, acknowledge strengths in others. Because, like what you have experienced, we all go through life suppressing our own strength, acknowledging our strength. When someone else says to us, what happens? You feel good about yourself, right? But you also start to like the other person. So that's the trick. When you of course, you have to be real, okay? You don't just say something just to make other people like. People can tell that you're faking it, okay? Okay? So from today onwards, This is for me, I do this naturally, but it wasn't natural in the beginning. I had to remind myself. So can I get you guys to remind yourself to acknowledge at least 2 persons every day until it becomes so natural that everyone you meet will like you, but you can choose to like them back or not? Isn't that such a good power? Because acknowledging a strength in someone else doesn't mean that you have to like the person. Right? True or not? It's just respecting whatever that the person has. Okay? Next one. Be appreciative, be respectful, and vulnerability. Vulnerability is about saying, okay, yes, I'm not good at this. Or you can say, oh no, I screwed up. And then using the words of, just now, F-U-C-K-I-T. Okay, because I'm not vulgar. At least not on stage. Okay, you can say F-U-C-K-I-T, I did something wrong. Okay, so you want to be vulnerable. So can you see why it's not worth using humility as a reference? Because you come across more confident. And if someone, there's once when I told someone, and that person happened to be Asian, of course, okay, most likely. I say, I'm really good at writing. And the person's like, oh, so arrogant. Do you know that statement says more about that person than me? Yes. Okay? So I'm just relaying that so that if you get that kind of response, how do you so-called save yourself? That's humble lah. No lah, I'm not good at writing lah. Never mind lah. How do you save yourself? That's one way. The one I always do is this. I say, so let me replay. Say, I'm really good at writing. And the person say, you're being so arrogant. I say, no, I'm just stating my strength. How does that sound? Did I put that person down? Did I try to correct the person's psychology? I don't care what you think about me, because the way you responded says more about you than me. I'm just saying, I'm stating my strength. That's it. You want to know how to respond in such clear, concise, and compelling way in very difficult situations? Do you want to know? Good. Then you can know more about my book. Can you please put up my book? It's called Speak Smart, Make Your Mark. I ran out all copies, but you can go to my website, which I'll show on the last slide. You can download the first chapter for free. Do you like me now? Yes. Thank you. Okay, next one. Make your accomplishments look effortless. Now, I'm on Facebook, and when I read other people's feed, I get very annoyed. Because we have developed a culture where talking about our sad stories is so fashionable. Okay? If anything that is worth accomplishing will always have its difficulties. True or not? No, you all are all intelligent. People don't need to tell you that. Okay? So if you have accomplished something that is amazing, just accept the compliments. You don't have to go and tell a whole sad story about how you spend hours, how you worked and worked and worked and you accomplished. It loses that. No, it's not value. It loses, someone say that. It loses the mystery. It spoils your aura and your presence. Did you get it? Okay? If you look at the Hollywood actors and actresses of the past, because back then communications were difficult, right? The stars cannot communicate directly to their fans, right? At that time, no social media, no internet. Then everyone was like, wow, up to today we're still talking about James Dean and Marilyn Monroe. Even though they committed suicide. Right, not? Why? It's because they never had a chance to tell their sad stories. So we all look up to them like, wow, you know, like God and goddesses. Wouldn't you want some of that aura in you? So you must be so good at it that when you walk, people see you walking and your feet don't touch the ground. You get it? It takes effort, okay? All right. See, is my feet touching the ground? No. No, okay. So I'm glad you asked that question, okay? She's asking, this thing, what I've said about this, isn't it contradicting about what I said about authenticity? Now, presence does not need justification. That's all I can say. A presence is present. Being authentic doesn't mean you need to appear weak or human or like, It's just that aura. There are very nice people I've met who has that aura. It's brilliant. It doesn't need justification. Okay? Okay. Know a lot. This is the third one, and the final one. Know a lot, but say less than necessary. Have you heard of academics who they are experts, right? They're supposed to be experts in that domain, right? And they go on and on and on and on, and you don't even need lunch to fall asleep. Right? So what I'm trying to say is, you know a lot, but you say enough in a clear, concise, and compelling manner, and people were like, wow. Okay? Now, in one of my recent writing workshops, I suddenly came up with a formula for this. It's called the formula of impact. You want to know that? Okay? This is the what? The clarity of your message divided by the number of words you use to relay that message. The more words you use to relay that message, the less the impact is. So do you want to know how to communicate in a clear, concise, and compelling manner? How many of you want to know that? Get my book. Show my book, please. It's Speak Smart, Make Your Mark. All right? Okay, so one more thing. If you forget, like, what is clear, concise, and compelling, remember this guy. Like Yoda, you should talk. Right? Can you see, like, even though he has the least role in the original Star Wars movies, but he's like one of the most famous icons of that genre. True? And he doesn't even have to say much. Just, Okay? So, if you want to gain appeal and up your profile, there are 4 things that you need to do. You need to know your message, know your audience, know your space, and have a style. And what do you get from there? You'll get mass appeal. There's no such thing as mass appeal means you please everyone. It means it pleases people within your domain. Does it make sense? You learn a lot? Yes. But one last thing. Okay, when Dean Shams talk, there's always a plot twist. Okay? Everything comes to an end eventually. So sometimes you get tired of being an IT professional. Sometimes you get tired of being a HR professional or whatever. And then you want to change, right? What do? You go back and reinvent yourself and do the whole process all over again. Because I used to be a secondary school teacher. Oh, my feet not touching the ground already. Okay? but I reinvented myself to be able to stand here and talk to you and give you insights based on my knowledge and my beliefs. If I can do it, can you do it? Yes. No, you can't. Because 95% of you will take this as information and never turn it to knowledge. And the other 5% of you, not 5 lah, let's say 3%, will be too humble to do anything about it. But there will be 2% who will go and do it. So do you want to be that 2%? Yes. All right. So with that, I leave you. You please, if you want to go download the free, you can go to, it's actually the title of the book, Speak Smart, Make Your Mark. And I'm always happy to connect with you on Facebook or LinkedIn. My Facebook is really mostly about my work, right? Because I don't have a life, so. All right, so with that, remember mass appeal. If you want to up your profile, think about mass appeal, and with that, thank you.